Hello, everyone, and welcome to the main event. It is April the 8th, 2024. I hope you all enjoyed the eclipse, right? I'm your host, Main Event Mike. Welcome to the show every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We are here talking about NFL football, more specifically Detroit Lions football, and we are just a couple of weeks away from the draft, now a little more than 2 weeks away from the draft, coming up on Thursday, the 25th. Right here at the main event, we will be going live on this very network. We're broadcasting live into the Detroit Lions Villain Squad. We are also broadcasting live into Detroit Lions News. Thank you to Joe Chapp and the boys. Also over at our YouTube, it's at Main Event 365. That's MANE. Be sure to check us out. And any of those places, you can catch our third annual draft special, which will be every pick, every round. It's the off season. The first couple of waves of free agency are over. The draft is looming on the horizon. It's this lull in between. There are a lot of podcasters out there talking. A lot of them saying the same thing, unfortunately. But that's okay. There's not a lot to talk about. I get it. But on this show, we try to go a little deeper. We try to look outside the box. We try to think outside the box and try to cover some different topics. And now, if you think they're vanilla and they're not outside the box, you're entitled to your opinion. Put it in the comment. Tell me what a schlep I am. But today's question, look, I'm what's called a slappy, okay? I'm a homie, a Brad homie, or a Brad bot, if you will. I think he should have won Executive of the Year 2 years in a row. But Howie Roseman is a Jedi over there in Philadelphia and got it last year. And then we saw on draft day 2 of the draft last year, day 3, there was a trade with the Lions and the Eagles. So Roseman and Holmes, two of the best in the business, negotiating on draft day. So my question to you out there today is, what will Brad do? Trade up? Trade down? Stay at number 29? What do you think? I can promise you this. Whatever all the experts are saying, he'll do the opposite. If you can find me one draft analysis from last year that said the Lions were going to take Jahmyr Gibbs at number 12, I'll eat my hat. I don't think there was one. Not even Jeremy B., who's on this very network, called that one. Okay? He has got his own plan, and he doesn't care if it follows conventional wisdom. He doesn't care if any of the pundits. Now, you'll hear a lot of people say, well, he's going to take the best player available. If all 4 of those quarterbacks go at the top of the draft, that's going to make a lot of defensive people available in the back end, and he could just stay at 29, or he could even move back and get a lot of draft capital. There's a lot of that going on. Personally, I think he's going to trade up. And I'll tell you why. The great Hall of Fame GM, Bill Polian, said there are only 15 to 18 guys with a true first-round grade. There are 32 picks, but only 15 to 18 with a true first-round grade. So anything beyond pick 18 is essentially a second-rounder. I've said this before on this network. But Brad's going to find his guy. He doesn't care what the pick is. If he thinks he's going to lose his guy, he'll package it up and he'll go up and he'll get him. He doesn't care about position either. He's already shown that. Look at the decline in the running back market. We're going to talk about this a little later. But jumping up to take Jahmyr Gibbs at 12 last year he traded back actually from 6 to 12. We'll talk about that right now too. So we don't know what he's going to do. You can think you know, but he's going to surprise you because his agenda is not the same as ESPN's or yours or mine. So the Brad plan coming into effect here in just a couple of weeks. So let's take a look at what he did last year. All right, let's take a dive into the 2023 draft, which many outlets had the Lions receiving a D grade or worse. But as we all know, the 2023 draft for the Detroit Lions will go down as a historic draft with the players that they selected. Funny, I was reading some articles earlier today, and they were right after that draft. Doing some research for this show tonight. And I was reading all of the grades that people were saying and the things they were saying. Oh, Jahmyr Gibbs. Oh, you could have got him in the second round. You wasted that pick. No, it's not true. We know that New England would have took him at 14 had we not taken him at 12. New England came right out and said that. We were going to take Jahmyr Gibbs at 14 last year. So here's what he did last year. He had 8 picks. He had 6 picks in the top 100 last year. This is the second year in a row he had 2 first-round picks, by the way. Third year in a row, that he had 2 first-round picks. And he creates 1 trade on day 1. In totality, the Lions get 2 first, 2 second, and 2 third. 6 picks in the top 100 last year. We know those picks: Jahmyr Gibbs, Campbell at linebacker, Laporta at tight end, and Brian Branch. Then you get Hendon Hooker in the third. Okay? So he did some wizardry last year. Only 1 trade on the first day. But he's used to picking up there now, guys. He's not going to want to pick at 29. He's not going to play this game of trading back. He's going to find his guy. He's going to go aggressive. You watch. Mark Main Event Mike's words. He's going to go aggressive. He's going to trade up. My opinion. I could be wrong. What do I know? Put it in the comments. Tell me what you know. Let's see what the comments have yielded today. Donkey Kong, welcome to the show. What does Brad want? Just be thankful. We're very thankful. Laura says, Lions, love the Lions. You and me both, Laura. Scotty Harrison in the comments as well. What's up, Scott? So, yeah, 6 in the top 100 on day 1. He comes out with some gems. He does 4 trades on day 2. He goes up twice and comes down twice. Very active. 5 trades in all. It was a quiet day 3 because he did all of his action at the top end of the draft. I think he'll do that again this year. He even swung a trade with Arizona to go back to 12. They move up to 6 and take Paris Johnson, probably a generational left tackle. The Lions probably could have had Paris Johnson sitting on their bench instead of Jahmyr Gibbs. Take that for what you will. But Paris Johnson goes 6 to the Cardinals. Part of that trade, the Lions acquired a late-round pick, 168. Well, later, Brad Holmes uses that 168 pick and trades it back to Arizona. After getting the player he wanted anyway, traded back and he knew he'd get the player he wanted. He said from the beginning, that was the guy who was at the top of our board. That's the guy we wanted. And we knew at number 6 we could move back and still get him. And then they used that same pick they got from Arizona to move back into the 3rd round to pick up Broderick Martin. Jury's still out on what kind of pick that'll be. Maybe now with DJ Reader, we'll see more development from him. That would be really nice. So quite active. 5 trades on draft day. 1 including, like I said, to Howie Roseman of the Philadelphia Eagles. He traded DeAndre Swift for a 7th-round swap. They swapped 7th-round picks. And then next year in 2025, we get a 4th-rounder. I'm going to love to see what that pick is. Maybe a badass running back. Do the Lions even want a running back? Do they even need a running back? That's what our second segment is going to be about today. Little sneak peek for you guys there. Mrs. Karen Porter says, my special favorite football team player, Jahmyr Gibbs, is definitely a very good running back with a lot of speed. And he's good at preventing to get tackled. It's a good call, Mrs. Karen. We're looking good at running back. I want to get into that in a little bit. We're still only 11 minutes into the show, however. We still got a lot of things to talk about with this guy, Brad freaking Holmes. He goes into last draft at 6 and 18. He ends up picking at 12 and 18. A lot of people did not like his picks, but how you like them now? After playing and making an impact as rookie, all 4 of them, all the first 4 picks are cornerstones of this organization now. After only 1 year, they've already solidified themselves as cornerstones of this franchise. He was a wizard last year. I don't expect anything less this year. Maybe it will be boring. Maybe it'll just be, yeah, he stays at 29, takes the best player available. Ho-hum. I'll bet you one thing. That'll be the guy Brad Holmes wanted the whole time. He knows the guys that he wants and what they're made of. Right here on this very network, you can watch Russell Wayne every weekday at 3 p.m. And Russell does his afternoon thing at 3 p.m. And today, he was really interesting today. You can always scroll back over to Lions Villain Squad and scroll back down in the feed if you were working and you didn't get a chance to see Russ's show today. Very good stuff. He did a deeper dive into what is a Brad Holmes guy, right? We know he likes like Jack Campbell, academic All-American, team captain, Josh Paschal, team captain and All-American. That he likes these leaders. Put a group full of leaders together. And so he started looking for those guys in the late rounds, and he found some very interesting prospects that fit the bill and also address a need for the Lions. So that was on today's Russell Wayne show at 3 p.m. You might want to check that out. We know he can hit in the late rounds. We've seen him do it. Derek Barnes took him a couple of years to develop, but he's turned into a frontline starter. Pick 130. Okay. Amon-Ra St. Brown, of course, 4th round. May go down as one of the greatest 4th round draft picks of all time, if he's not already. But maybe they'll stay at 29. Hey, Chris Spielman was pick number 29. There's no Chris Spielman in this draft that I can see, though. Not at that linebacker. These linebackers are hybrids now. It's all edge. Jack linebacker. No true middle linebacker anymore. Jack Campbell, we saw him come out. Definitely a true middle linebacker. These guys still do well in the NFL. They're just not coming out the way they used to. Like the development at the high school and college level isn't developing Mike Singletary and Ray Lewis anymore. They're hybrid. They're Von Millers now. Maybe an indication of how Von Miller changed the game. I don't know. But definitely, we got Robert, our favorite Packer fan. What's up, main event? Mike Holmes is definitely a wizard at the draft. Holmes knows his football. Much respect on your name, Robert Bertana, for that comment. Heck, these Green Bay Packers, I know you're not sweating it. 11 picks in this draft for the Green Bay Packers. They hit big with Jaden Reed last year. All of the skill position players are under 26 years old. All of them. And then you've got Jordan Love with only 1 year of experience. He's the old man of the group. Good things on the horizon for the Green Bay Packers. It's going to be a tough 10-year stretch when you look at what the Bears are doing as well. And the Vikings will catch up. They'll get a quarterback, and they will catch up. And this is already one of, if not the toughest division in football, Robert. And I look to the Packers this year for offensive line. That's where they're going to hit hard. They're going to go back to their ways. Remember, they went all those years without drafting a wide receiver or tight end or skill position players. That was the Packer way. I think they're going to go back to the Packer way now. They're going to build through the lines, add a safety, I'm sure. They might go safety first pick. Picking at 25, I think, this year for the Green Bay Packers. 5 picks in the top 100. Good call, Robert. Yeah, so Lions fans, don't think for a minute just because we are the reigning NFC North Division champions. Hey, Robert, turn up the volume on this one. Just because we're the reigning NFC North Division champions. I don't even know how to act saying that. It's the first time in my life I've ever been able to say that. That's sad. I'm old. So, NFC North reigning division champion. Don't think because you're a Lions fan that it's going to be all sunshines and roses for the next 10 years because of all the young talent on this team. The other teams in this division, they're sick of being beat down over the years too. They're tired of seeing the Chiefs win it and the Patriots win it and the Buccaneers in it and the Niners in it. They're tired of that. This NFC, this entire fan base of every team in the NFC North is tired of it. They want a Super Bowl. It's been since 85 for the Bears, never for the Lions, never for the Vikings to win one. And what, 2010 for the Packers? Is that right? Did they win the title in 2010? So 14 years? Been a long time for this division. The Lions were within a half last year of getting there. Now, the draft coming after the first waves of free agency. Are the Lions going to do enough in this draft? And then after the draft, there's plenty of time. There's training camp. There's going to be cuts from other teams. There's going to be these UFL guys available. Canadian Football League players. Our good friend Jeremy B from Smoking Jeremy B Football Talk on this network, 11 a.m. on weekdays. He likes this guy named Quantez Stiggers from the Canadian Football League. He's a corner. He's the defensive rookie of the year in Canada. He thinks the Lions are going to make a pitch for this guy in the later rounds. Yeah, draft, buddy. And it's in Detroit this year. Man, I wanted to go. I applied for tickets. Put it in the comments. Tell me if you're going. Lucky dogs. Instead, I'll be doing our draft special. I'll be live on the internet with Russell Wayne. And we'll have Jeremy B reporting live from the draft as well. That'll be cool. He'll be right there in the mosh pit with his phone. What's up, main event? It's going to be great. I love the draft. Always loved the draft. I don't like the Thursday at 8 o'clock format because I'm one of those fortunate people that get to make my own schedule at work and work from home. So I loved getting up early and laying on the couch all day and watching the draft. My father did the same thing. Sorry, can't come to work today. It's draft day. It's like a national holiday in my house. I'm not kidding. Like a national holiday. When I met my wife, I told her, hey, draft day, I'm right there on the couch all day with my notepad. And they didn't even have the internet then, but I always tracked it. I was a nerd like that. You a nerd like that? I love the draft. Maybe it's because I was a Lions fan, and that was my Super Bowl every year. You know, and then it became really, and this is true, it became so pathetic. Like, how are the Lions front office going to screw this one up? Oh, who'd we take? I remember they picked James Jones, a fullback, in the first round to block for Barry Sanders. Quite possibly the dumbest draft. He's a fine player. As far as fullbacks go, he's a real good player. Played 10 years, I think, for the Lions. Block for Billy Sims. Excuse me, not block for Barry Sanders. Block for Billy Sims. And then took over the starting duty when Billy got injured, had to retire. I think he played for 10 years. Good pick. But at that time, my dad and myself, as just a small guy, could not understand why you would take a fullback with the first round pick. Even then, as archaic as things in the draft process was back then, why would you do that? And then as the years went on and the ineptitude just grew and grew, and the Eric Ebrons and the Brandon Pettigrew and the Charles Rogers and the Joey Harrington, bust after bust after bust. Terry Fair, bust after bust. It was amazing that we even retained any fan base. Hence the term diehard. Diehard fan. We die hard. Very hard to kill our enthusiasm when you're a diehard fan. Donkey says, Lions will be one of the very best teams in the NFL. That's all we can ask. Go win the bowl. That's right. Super Bowl or bust, or it's a failure if you ask me. Not just be there. We got to win it. In 1 minute, I'm talking about how desperate and horrible Lions have been. And now here it is 1 year removed from some playoff success, and I'm ready. Win the Super Bowl or bust. I mean it, though. Mr. Karen says she'll be at the draft all 3 days. 3 free ticket. Early bird catches the worm. The early bird catches the worm. But it's the second bird. No, that's not right. Dwayne says, with our team through and bad and good, let's go Detroit. That's right. That's what because Dwayne, you're a diehard fan, and I already know this from your participation on here. And by the way, I appreciate each and every one of you. Please click an emoji, a heart or a thumbs up or something, or thumbs down. I don't care. Click an emoji. It helps us a little bit, and I appreciate it a whole lot. Put it in the comment. There's something you want to talk about. What will Brad do? I haven't seen one comment in here that says what you think they'll do. That's the question today, folks. Will we stay at 29, trade up or trade down? We got a Lions fan from Wisconsin, Donkey. Oh, man. Well, Robert says he's going to the next draft in Green Bay in 2025. Damn, I don't want to be in Green Bay in April. It's not nice enough there yet, I don't think. Donkey, we might have to have you go live from that one next year for us. Put it in the comments. Don't be a schlep. Put it in there. I think he'll trade down. Just say that. I think he'll trade up. I think he'll stay. He'll wait. And if the player that he sees and that he's had targeted is still there, or and he starts to look ahead and he forecasts what the picks are going to be, and his guy's there, he'll stand pat to get his guy at 29. Except that I don't think that Brad Holmes is targeting anyone with a 29th pick grade. I mean, that makes perfect sense. But I think it's top 12 guys that Brad Holmes is looking at. He's looking at a top 12 guy that slides to 18. A Jared Verse, Nate Wiggins, something like that. Also, we look at what he did last year. Hendon Hooker, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, 3 offensive players. Jack Campbell, Brian Branch, Broderick Martin, 3 defensive players. Balance. He did that the year before too. Balance. Investing resources in the offense and resources in the defense. Had he gone up and take Jalen Carter or something like that, a lot of his retractors love to ponder that. What if the Lions would have taken Jalen Carter or a stud defensive player? Guess what? He wanted Devin Witherspoon, the corner, the long corner. Got taken 1 pick ahead at number 5 by Seattle. Turned out to be a pretty good player in his rookie year too. But when that guy was gone, now it was, who's the next guy up on our board? Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell. Well, I think Jack Campbell could be there at 18. I got Matt Patricia on the other line because he's a rat fink. And he says they're going to take Jahmyr Gibbs at 14. I don't know. So he takes Jahmyr Gibbs at 12. Blew everyone's mind. On the draft special last year, Russ and I were like this. You literally, it's on our YouTube in the archive. Go to last year's draft and watch Russ and I. It's absolutely hilarious. We're both on camera, and the pick comes in, Jahmyr Gibbs, running back, Alabama, and we are both flabbergasted. And then like the true homers that we are, we look at each other and go, I love it. I didn't know what to think of it. It took me days to wrap my head around it. So don't be surprised. Robert says he thinks we trade up also. I do too, Robert. I think Brad Holmes just got a guy. He's not going to sit there at 29. Now, how far up will he go? I don't know, because the farther you go up, the draft capital, the price becomes too expensive. I don't see us giving future number ones to anyone for anything. Not the way this guy can draft. I don't see us giving that kind of draft capital up. Put it in the comments. Let me know what you think he'll do. One thing I don't think he will do is draft a running back in the first 2 rounds. That might not be such a bold statement. Let's look at the running back room depth that the Detroit Lions have now. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, and I'm purposefully listing them that way. Jahmyr Gibbs is an amazing running back. He's a weapon, great in the passing game. But as long as David Montgomery's there, he's going to be RB1. because they don't care about those designations. The Lions don't care about that. Only we do as fans, fantasy football managers. We care about who's an RB1. Lions don't care. You can book it, brother. You can take it to the bank. The first play of the first game will be David Montgomery up the gut behind Frank Ragnow. Provided everyone stays healthy through the preseason and they're there on the first play from scrimmage of the 2024 season, the first play will be David Montgomery up the gut. Book it. He's the Lions' RB1. Jahmyr Gibbs, he might out-touch him every game. Very possible. But David Montgomery's not going to be a bench player. It's a two-headed monster, folks, and this is how they're playing it, and this is how they're going to play it. Running back by committee has become the thing in the NFL. We've seen the decline of the running back position in their salaries, the devaluing of the running back position. Talking about this upcoming draft, I looked through the top 50 prospects. I didn't have time to keep going further than that, but there's not one running back in the top 50. There were 3 last year in the top 50, and all 3 of them were drafted. But none in the top 50 this year. You take teams like the New York Giants, the Tennessee Titans now, losing Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley respectively. Those teams become desperate now for running back. But there's no solid prospect at the top of this draft, so they're going to have to go back later rounds to find a running back. I think that's what Detroit might do that. You might be looking at day 3, some running back that Brad Holmes has identified as a dog. Here's our depth. Monty, Gibbs, Craig Reynolds. I don't think anybody argues with that. Netflix is the clear-cut number 3 back. But he's the guy with a target on his back. He's the guy they're all gunning for. Below him, you've got Zonovan Knight and Jermar Jefferson. That's it. That's your depth. So you've got free agents that have been with the team before that are no longer on the team, and they haven't signed with a team yet. That's Mo Ibrahim, the rookie last year, who came out in week 7 in his very first game, he gets a hip injury, ends his year. Lions let him go. He hits the street, goes through waivers, comes back. Lions re-sign him now to the practice squad. So, and then now they have let him go again. So now he is still an unrestricted free agent out on the street. Mo Ibrahim. Jason Kabinda, also out on the street. 2 guys that were on this team last year. So it's not beyond the realm of possibility. It's not too far-fetched to think that the Lions could add running back depth in this draft. If you'd asked me a week ago, I said, no way they take a running back. But I start to look at it and think about it. It's like, yeah, who do they got behind Craig Reynolds? And if you do draft some rookie from the 6th round from Appalachian State or whatever, some guy you and I have never heard of, but Brad is very familiar with, and he's a dog and a beast. Now that's where Craig Reynolds has that target on his back. We want to upgrade talent. RB1 and 2 are safe. Monty and Gibbs, they're locked in. Barring injury, there's very little, anything in this world that could stop that from happening. But Craig, while we all agree he's a great RB3, I had the pleasure once of interviewing his father. And excellent, very nice man. This was before the Hard Knocks season on HBO, when the world got to meet Eric Reynolds. We did an interview with him. And he said how tenuous it is and how stressful it is when you don't have that security like Monty and Gibbs do. Craig's on the razor's edge every season. They love him here in Detroit. You remember Hard Knocks. Dan Campbell said, who else going to feel like they got kicked in the gut if we lose Craig? And we saw that block he delivered in Tampa last year. Those kind of things. Great guy. Great athlete. Solid number 3 running back to have on your team. But he's not infallible. He's not a surefire. He's not going anywhere. If some hotshot running back were to come in, they could take Craig's job. Craig would then move down the depth chart. I don't think Craig is in any danger of being cut from this team. Don't get me wrong there. But he'd be relegated to RB4 is very possible. And I don't know if that's such a bad thing. I mean, we're kind of biased because we like Craig, his dad, all that. But as a fan, would I like to see a hot shot third down back come in? Some hot shot guy who impressed in the preseason and training camp. Wow, we got to get this guy some touches. A lot like that Emmanuel Wilson guy I saw for Green Bay last year. What that guy did in the preseason, I said, oh my gosh, they got to let this guy on the field. Then he gets an injury. Doesn't get to play in 2023. But a guy like that could supplant Craig Reynolds at the running back position. Do you think the Lions would take a running back in the later rounds? I don't think it'd be in the first 2 rounds. We're talking about a depth piece. He said he doesn't draft for need. So if the best player on his board is a running back in the second round, I still can't see him doing it. Just can't. I realize he doesn't pick for need. I get it. But I just can't see that happening either. What do we got in these comments here? Dwayne says the best staff we've had in a long time to get this team together and better for a run for the Super Bowl. Sooner, can't wait. The sooner, the better, he says. That's right. Donkey says, Brad just stays at 29 or trades down. However, Brad is the best, so whatever he does is the best decision. But Donkey, you hope that he stays or trades down. Is that because you don't see a player up there that can make a difference? Or you don't want to risk the draft capital knowing the way Brad Holmes can draft? I mean, here's an exercise for you. Would you rather have the 18th overall pick or the 20th and 32nd? Well, that depends if Brad Holmes is drafting. You think, well, the 20th and 32nd, you're getting 2 guys. Well, no, because some guy slipped to 18 and Brad's going to take him there. He's probably much better than that because this guy evaluates talent like no other. Ask Aaron Donald. Ask Les Snead. What we've seen the last 3 years from this guy. Barring Chase Lucas, a 7th-round corner from Arizona State who just signed with another team, every single draft pick Brad Holmes has ever made is still under contract, including Jamar Jefferson, the running back. With the exception of Chase Lucas, who, by the way, is not out of the league. He signed with another team. Another tip of the hat, a 7th-rounder, gets a second bite of the apple in this league because Brad Holmes identified him as a better talent than that. He was the first man down on kickoffs every year. Every kickoff, he was the first man down. Chase Lucas became a special teams ace. Now with these new kickoff rules, don't need him. Guys are going to be 5 yards apart. Now watch Malcolm Rodriguez, Jalen Reeves-Maybin. These guys are going to be the best special teams unit on kickoffs in the league, I think. You got Khalif Raymond back there running it back. We also have a guy named Maurice Alexander who's fielded lots of XFL kickoffs in this format. So I think the Lions are going to be sneaky good on special teams this year. We don't need a field goal kicker. Our head coach goes for it on 4th down. Who cares? Okay, so Donkey's answering the question. Then you don't want to spend that draft capital because Brad is awesome. Absolutely. So I get that side of it. Don't give up anything to move up and get a guy when you know Brad's going to find you a gem with that pick in the end. I get it. But I just can't help but think that Bill Polian quote, there are only 15 to 18 guys that with a true first-round grade. Brad Holmes never had a draft where he wasn't picking in the top 10. So I don't know how you ho-hum your way through that. And just say, yeah, we'll just stay at 29. I don't buy it for a minute. I think he's going to move up and he's going to get a guy we didn't see it coming. Don't forget, folks, follow us on Facebook, Lions Villain Squad, and over at our YouTube at Main Event 365. We appreciate everyone's support. This train is rolling. We also have a group. It's called Lions Main Event, MANE, Main Event. Has 18,000 members in the group. And this is a clean group, folks. No spam, no sellers. Every day I'm in there cleaning out, kicking them out, banning them. It's a very clean group. You can put your own opinion, put your own post, anything you want in the Lions Main Event group. Come on over to the page and join the conversations that are already going. We appreciate each and every one of you. We'll let the music play for a little bit here before I sign off. Put it in the comments. Give me something to talk about. I've run through my topics. Driving. Or do you like feeding the ducks? Not sure why it's called feeding the ducks. I think I like night driving better for this purpose. Miss Karen P. Porter says a bunch of stuff, letting us all know as diehard Detroit Lions fans. That's right, Miss Karen, because you know why? It's April the 8th, okay? And we're talking about football. It's months away. It's a long time away. But we are talking about football because we are diehard fans. And I appreciate that. I didn't watch the women's basketball final. I wanted to, but I didn't. Caitlin Clark lost. It was a great story. From the articles I read, she just got out-teamed. But I try to stay in that football realm. I try to stay all the time in the football. I eat it, breathe it, and sleep it. Because we're running this page. It's the Main Event 365, 365 days a year. Scroll down through the Lions Villain Squad page and you'll find an advertisement for t-shirts and coffee mugs. We got all that stuff too. The Villain Squad swag you can get. Be looking good in it. Draft special on Thursday, the 25th. Every pick, every round. It's the Main Event Mike. Saying God bless each and every one of you. Peace out.